Operation Echo Response. In the aftermath of the Balkan conflicts, NATO faced the challenge of maintaining not just peace, but also readiness. While major combat operations had ended, the region remained volatile, and the alliance knew that its credibility depended on the ability to respond rapidly to any renewed threat. Operation Echo Response was born out of this necessity, not as a mission into active conflict, but as a large-scale training and reinforcement exercise that tested NATO's logistical muscle and strategic preparedness in a post-war environment. Launched in 1999, shortly after the conclusion of the Kosovo War, Echo Response was centered around demonstrating NATO's ability to deploy forces quickly into Southeast Europe. It took place in Albania and Macedonia, countries that had been directly affected by the refugee crisis and the spillover of violence from Kosovo. While no bombs were dropped and no bullets fired, the operation was far from symbolic. It was a real-time rehearsal of NATO's ability to mobilize and sustain multinational forces in response to sudden instability. Troops, equipment, and vehicles from across the alliance were transported into forward operating bases through airlifts, convoys, and naval routes. The operation simulated a rapid reinforcement scenario, how NATO would respond if one of its stabilization missions in the Balkans suddenly faced an escalation, or if regional governments requested immediate security assistance. Every element of NATO's support structure was put to the test, from transport logistics and fuel distribution to command and control coordination and joint communications. One of the core objectives of Echo Response was to improve interoperability among NATO members. Soldiers from different countries, speaking different languages, using different equipment, and trained under different doctrines, had to operate seamlessly as one unit. The drills included coordinated movements, humanitarian logistics simulations, air-ground integration, and contingency planning for civil unrest or mass displacement. NATO aircraft conducted surveillance missions, while ground troops secured simulated checkpoints, escorted convoys, and established temporary refugee shelters. For the local population, the operation was a reassuring presence. It showed that NATO's commitment to peace didn't end with the signing of a ceasefire. It extended into preparedness, training, and sustained partnership. For regional governments, it was an opportunity to work side by side with NATO forces, strengthening civil-military cooperation and reinforcing their own emergency response capabilities. But Echo Response also sent a message beyond the Balkans. It was a reminder to adversaries and potential spoilers that NATO was not winding down its presence. It was sharpening it. The alliance would remain vigilant, mobile, and ready to respond at a moment's notice to protect stability in Southeast Europe. Operation Echo Response didn't make headlines. There were no high-stakes standoffs or dramatic battles. But its success lay in what didn't happen. No resurgence of violence, no breakdown in post-war recovery, no erosion of NATO's influence. It was a quiet but vital link in the chain of operations that secured the region after years of bloodshed. Echo Response was a demonstration of power in preparation, of deterrence through readiness. In a world where conflict often erupts without warning, it showed that the most effective missions are sometimes the ones that never have to go to war, because the response, loud, clear, and coordinated, is already in motion.